So I'm a huge fan of the new genre of systems known as handheld mini PCs, and I've covered quite a few of them on this channel before. One that I've never covered, though, was the MSI Claw. There's currently a promotion on both Amazon and Target with a starting price of $4.79, and I will have links to both of those in the description box down below. And they asked me if I wanted to take a sponsored look at the Claw, and I was like, yes. I love these things. I want to see about the MSI Claw and what it's capable of. So we're going to take a look at this as a gaming device, as an emulation device, and as a mini PC to see if the MSI Claw is right for you. All right, so here is our MSI Claw. Now, this is powered by an Intel Core Ultra 7 and Intel Arc graphics, and they've been doing lots of optimizations on the BIOS of the system, and they've been seeing a 60 to 70% performance boost on the top 20 Steam games compared to the previous BIOS, and they're still working on it, so things are going to get even better with this device. You can see we have Hall effect analog sticks as well. Taking a look at the top of the system, we have extensive cooling, you have a Thunderbolt 4 charging port, a micro SD card slot, all sorts of fun stuff on there. The back of the system has contoured hand grips that I actually really like, and some programmable buttons on there as well, if you're into those sorts of things. I really like the design of the system. I think it feels very nice in your hand. It has up to 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5 RAM and 1 terabyte of NVMe SSD, so everything moves pretty fast on it. And this is actually really cool as well. This is the MSI Center M, which is kind of like your home base for this device. You can add different games and stuff like that, but what I really like is all the different options you can do. As you can see here, you could do different things like have it on battery mode, balance mode, extreme performance, whatever you kind of want. You can even overboost the system as well. This is very nice too. There is a resource that has various game settings that will be optimal for this device. So instead of having to tinker around with it yourself, you could just see what the optimal settings are and just go ahead and plug those in. I will say the battery on this is pretty good as well. We'll talk a little bit more about it in just a little bit, but I think the battery is actually a highlight of this as well. And there is this, which is your live updates, which you just touch the touch screen, or you can hit a button as well, and it'll scan to see if you have any updates that you need to do for your system. So I really do like that. The screen is a 7-inch FHD 120 hertz screen with a variable refresh rate on it as well, which is, you know, a pretty nice screen, all things considered. So very nice. I like this whole little home base center thing. I think this is very cool, and it really allows you to kind of tinker with things, but not get too like deep over your head with stuff like that, because I know that will probably happen to some people. Now, there is an optional docking nesting station here that you can purchase from MSI as well. They did send me one to take a look at. So basically, you hit the little button on the front, and it pops out this little holding section for your MSI Claw. And then taking a look at the back, you have pretty much what you would expect to see here, where you plug the Claw in an HDMI port so you can connect it to a different monitor. You have 2 USB slots on there as well, and you have a bunch of other different things as far as charging it is concerned. Nice little dock. I will say the little tray in the front is probably my favorite part. But now we got to take a look at some performance of games, because that's what we're wanting to do with this, right? So here is Spider-Man on the Steam. This is Spider-Man Remastered, and honestly, it looks and plays very well. I actually played about 2 hours of Spider-Man, and I still had a little bit of battery left with like maximum brightness settings as well. So I think the battery on the system is actually pretty well done. This is a mixture of medium and high settings for the game, and I mean, look at it. It looks great. I think it looks really nice on this screen as well. You know, tinkering with the different settings, you probably could get a little bit more graphical fidelity, but since we're on a 7-inch screen, it's kind of like, well, you don't need to make everything like super crazy. Like, I don't need ray tracing on a 7-inch screen or something like that. But Spider-Man was smooth sailing, you know, and this is a game that I really love. This is probably my favorite PlayStation game that they ever made, you know, as far as like the past 2 generations are concerned. So to be able to play this on a handheld device and get really good performance and really good visual quality, you know, it's nice. I really like it. And, you know, I was very impressed with just how well it managed to handle Spider-Man. This is kind of a higher end game when it comes to things like that. But besides gaming, as far as modern gaming is concerned, you can also use this as like a mini PC. Here I am setting up OBS. I have this put into the dock, and I'm just kind of messing around with different things. I set up a mouse to go along with it as well, and it actually functions very well as a mini PC. Like, you can do screen recordings and stuff on it. That's kind of how I get the upcoming footage for the emulation that we're going to be taking a look at. But whether you're setting up like OBS or wanting to run OBS, which ran fine when I was emulating stuff, or you just want to like browse the internet, browse different files and stuff like that, like, this is a Windows-based system, so it feels very familiar. If you are familiar with Windows, browse the net, learn 11 facts about the Filet-O-Fish that are finally in the open. I didn't realize there was a scandal about the Filet-O-Fish, but of course, I am the king of emulation, so we got to look at emulation on this thing. Here is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Xbox 360, and well, hey, and this is pretty cool. Now, I am using the dock once again for this, and I'm actually using OBS to capture this as well, so I'm actually doing two different things with the MSI Claw, and it's handling it perfectly. Like, there's no issues with the game. The game looks and plays exactly how it should. I actually never played this game back in the day, so I don't really know much about it, but it's not bad. It's that weird sort of Turtles art style that I'm not really into, but hey, Xbox 360 working good. What about some PlayStation 3 with a forgotten game? Remember when they did a digital only Tony Hawk 1 remastered that was like on like PSN and Xbox Live and stuff like that? That's what we're taking a look at today, because this is an underrated game. Yes, the physics are a little bit weird, but this is a super underrated game. So if we're able to do Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, obviously your PS2, your GameCube, your Dreamcast, that's all going to work brilliantly on this. Now, of course, your experience will vary with certain PS3 games, certain Xbox 360 games. It kind of is a bit based on the game itself and how it works with the emulators. But I did try out a couple of games, and everything seemed to be working fine. This is actually a super fun game. I wish they would re-release this game, because I don't know, it feels like Tony Hawk 1 instead of like what we've gotten recently. I don't know. Maybe that's just nostalgia talking, but I think this is a super cool game. And of course, there's one other system that we got to take a look at, and that is a certain Nintendo system that might switch on you. Now, obviously, I'm not going to show you a first-party Nintendo Switch game because I am not an idiot, but Nintendo Switch does seem to be very well optimized for this system. Now, this is obviously a smaller indie game that's actually kind of fun. I believe it was called Night Runner, and I actually really like this, and I was having way more fun playing this than I thought I was going to have. But I did try out some bigger Switch games that maybe involve a certain plumber who has like a red cap, and he wants to go on a pilgrimage or an odyssey, if you will, and that also ran brilliantly on this device while using OBS to screen record, which does take up some resources of the MSI Claw. So I was able to do that, and yeah, that game worked really well, whatever that game might be called. But as far as emulation is concerned, I think this is a really good package for doing emulation and stuff like that. It's going to run pretty much whatever you throw at it. Obviously, some higher end games you might have little hiccups here and there, or potentially some problems, and if it's based on the emulator itself, if it's just not like a super compatible game, you might run into options or some issues there as well, I should say. But overall, it's a pretty nice package. I think there's a lot of good that comes from this. The fact that they're constantly tinkering with the BIOS and getting more out of this system. I like these Windows-based sort of handhelds. And I will say, even after recording all of these games and playing all of these games and also using OBS on the Claw itself, that would take up more resources, I was still left with quite a bit of battery life on this device. So it's pretty impressive stuff, man. I'm really digging this. So overall, I like it. I think it's really cool. It does things very well. And yes, they're similar to what other devices have and what they are capable of doing. But I definitely like that little home access area where you have like these different menus and stuff, because it makes things very, very easy. And I think the performance of the system is actually very well done, and I really like the battery on it as well. I would venture to say that this is probably one of the better batteries of the mini handheld PCs that I have checked out, and I think it makes it an attractive option for people. And like I said, there is a link in the description box down below to both Amazon and Target for the special promotional price of the MSI Claw of starting at $479. I want to give a huge thank you to MSI for reaching out to me and sponsoring this video. Thanks, guys. See, companies do like to work with me. But give me your thoughts in the comments section down below. Is this something you're interested in? Obviously, with the holidays coming around, you could buy it for yourself, buy it as a gift, or buy me one. I mean, I'll take another one. Why not? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.